So I hope everyone's doing okay. I just want to say thank you for taking the time to watch this video. This video makes me happy because I'm reviewing a $399 phone. I'm reviewing a $399 phone from Apple. And the best part about it is that all the internal specs inside of it, at least most of them, are very similar to the more expensive products. I think with what's going on around the world, and for those of you out there who've been dying to try out an iPhone, this is a very special device for you. It's not for me, the enthusiast, it's for you, the regular, everyday user, for the mom who wants to buy a phone for their kid, for the daughter who wants to buy a phone for their grandmother, for the regular user who just loves small phones and wants to hold on to something that's going to be updated for the next 4 to 5 years. Yes, the bezels are thicker than most newer smartphones in 2020. But because this phone is so small, it doesn't feel unbearing. It's not like you're holding a device that requires 10 hands. You can use this with one hand. It feels great. The best part is if you can put a case on it. And it still won't feel big. Like I have this awesome D-brand grip here. This will ensure my phone will never break, especially if I drop it on the floor. It's going to protect it. And the best part about it is the phone still doesn't feel bulky. Now, to give you context on how big this device is, I'm putting it up against the 11 Pro Max and, of course, the iPhone 11 Pro. Yes, it's almost the size as the 11 Pro. It's a bit thicker, but again, it's still a very small device. You do get wireless charging in all three of these devices. It's not fast charging, but it's wireless charging. And because the battery inside of this is under 2,000 milliamp hours, you don't need super fast charging to top this up quickly. The battery size is small enough that it's going to do it naturally. And yes, this is not a 2-day phone. It's not a 3-day phone. This is just going to get you through the day. So even if you wirelessly charge it or hook it up to a physical charger, because the battery's so small, it'll still charge faster than these two other devices. Now, in my previous iPhone SE video, I made a huge mistake. I said the camera sensor is the iPhone 8, and others were saying it was the iPhone XR. I confirmed it. It's actually the same sensor as the iPhone 11, the same 12 megapixel wide sensor. So if you were to look at photos on this device compared to the 11 Pro, you would see very similar results. They take the exact same photos during the daytime. The only time the iPhone SE starts to fall apart is when you start getting into nighttime photos. It doesn't have nighttime mode like the 11 Pro. Apparently it needs the extra sensors. I mean, you could always just load up an app that lets you take a long exposure if you want better nighttime photography, but in terms of daylight photos, it's exactly the same. The front-facing camera is 7 megapixels. It's not 12 like the 11 Pro, and you can tell the difference in terms of quality between both of these devices. It's still better on the 11 Pro, but still good on the iPhone SE. Testing the microphone, testing. This is the front-facing camera of the iPhone SE and the iPhone 11 Pro. This will be able to give you the differences in terms of video quality. If you're talking about the 4K 30 frames per second that you get on the back camera, it's just as good as the iPhone 11 Pro. You have the same sort of stabilization, the same dynamic range, all in a $399 body. But if you're talking portrait mode, again, iPhone 11 Pro is going to do a slightly better job. It has more sensors to utilize in order to get the depth of the subject it's taking a photo of. It still does a really good job for one lens, but that's another difference between the more expensive version. Now, these speakers are great. Not as good as the 11 Pro, but they're still stereo speakers. So you have one in the earpiece here and then one on the bottom of the device. And if you listen to the sound spectrum, Apple did a good job of trying to match the 11 Pro. The next thing is Touch ID. Like, I'm so glad this is on the iPhone SE. I know it's not going to be around probably the next SE, but it's a nice throwback to back in the day. Like, I truly do miss double clicking on it, breaking up the apps menu and getting it to like that than using touch functionality. But especially right now with a lot of people wearing masks and not wearing gloves, you can get into your phone a bit quicker. Now, I'm not saying we should switch back to Touch ID going forward, but it's kind of nice to play with. I mean, at the end of the day, for $399, you're getting something that gets you into the Apple ecosystem. And if you want, you can buy AirPods and an Apple Watch, and it only costs you $750. I think that's a good set to start with if you want to try the Apple ecosystem. Now, I know for my Indian subscribers, this is not the best deal for you guys because of import fees and taxes. This ends up being much more expensive than some other budget options. You also have access to a lot of cheaper Chinese smartphones. For you guys, I would take a look at the value of being in the Apple ecosystem compared to a good Android phone. Which one sounds more appetizing to you? Do you buy something like the OnePlus 7T, which is probably cheaper than this, or do you sacrifice a little bit more money and get yourself into the Apple ecosystem? That's something you're gonna have to decide for yourself. Anyways, I'm excited for it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, if you have any questions, you can hit me up on Twitch or on Discord. I'm happy to talk to you. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.